Okay, and we are live at the end of a very busy week. Okay, welcome to Alphabet Scoop, episode 105. This has been a very long week of Google announcing everything under the sun to get under the Thanksgiving week-ish holiday crunch. So we are going to dive right in with in reverse chronological order. Okay, first Monday, assistant driving mode happened after a long wait. It was Tuesday. It was announced on Tuesday this week. So they finally announced it after it was first unveiled at I/O 2019 last year. It was
a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago. It was supposed to come summer 2019. So they totally shot that deadline. And what we have today is, it's very weird. It's not the version you'd expect from the keynote last year. It weirdly exists in Google Maps. It's basically the same navigation mode in Google Maps, but with a persistent bottom bar that lets you access Assistant at any time and access this custom app launcher, which absolutely did not exist in the past before, with your music and audio apps and a calling screen and text messages. But this isn't like, there isn't like a Google Assistant feed. It's not like a feed-based UI that tells you places you might want to go or that kind of thing. It's just Google Maps navigation with like an app launcher grid.
In some ways, it feels like instead of having one dedicated assistant driving mode, it feels like they're kind of putting it into a variety of other apps. Like, this is only the beginning. It's going to show up in Maps now, but then the experience is going to follow through to other apps in the future.
That's a very good point. I wonder if they gave up on the idea of having a feed, like something to replicate the updates tab or whatever it's called now. Snapshot tab. I wonder if they don't want to have two things that look nearly identical.
That's true. And also, I feel like even though there could be arguments made to the positive benefits of it, I feel like it would lend more to distraction rather than getting the job done quicker.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think most people are comfortable with like an app grid, like a gigantic 3x3 app grid is like the simplest thing to convey to people. So yeah, no idea when the current Android Auto on phones experience, which is a version behind the Android Auto you find in cars, in heads-up displays displays on cars, but it's a very limited launch, only in the US, only if your device is set to English. But yeah, it should be happening now, and it's honestly very overdue, and I wonder what happened to the original vision.
It wouldn't surprise me if what we have today was never originally called assistant driving mode.
Yeah, no, that does make sense, because this is like Maps driving mode. The assistant part of it is only vaguely there.
And they just called it that to be able to say that they shipped it. It took a year longer over a year longer than they expected it to, but they shipped it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what technically could have not worked out with the original vision. And I guess one curiosity is how, okay, let's say you start off with this assistant driving mode on your phone and you eventually get a new car. Like, none of the like the experience you gained from using one does not translate to the other. So I don't. It's really just different things at this point. Android Auto and yeah.
Personally, I never saw the point of assistant driving mode. It was like having an on-screen experience like Android Auto is more comfortable and more familiar. And I'd argue less distracting than trying to do just voice commands. Because, while you're driving, you're having to think of what you need to do and having to, wait for the feedback to know that it worked. Where, the touch, you can just quickly touch, keep your eyes on the road, quickly touch, keep your eyes on the road, and it's just easier. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never saw the point of the original. This looks better than the original, but still kind of pointless. I just wish they would have kept the original Android Auto on phones.
And updated it slightly to match the current one on cars, maybe?
I mean, even if they didn't, the interface works. It looks great on a phone, the old interface.
That is true.
The new one would not look as nice. It wouldn't translate nearly as well.
Yeah. Maybe that's the reason, the idea of waiting for voice commands to do everything. Maybe it's just too complex, and they found it from a usability standpoint. They ended up like researching and finding that it's not as enjoyable an experience. Maybe I don't know.
There are a lot of complicating factors with it too. Like I've noticed with Android Auto, if I trigger the assistant with full blown plugged in the phone Android Auto. If I press the assistant button, press the speak button on my steering wheel or whatever, the air conditioning will turn down if it's turned up high. Things to make it easier for the assistant to hear. Where if you're not interfaced with a car, you don't have controls like that.
Yeah, and like more broadly, like all modern cars are getting it. This feels like a product is getting Android Auto and CarPlay built in. This product, Android Auto on phones, made a lot more sense even 5 years back compared to now and where the modern cars are going. So it is odd. So jumping from Assistant, Google released a new Pixel 4a this week. It is in berry blue, in the same vein that purplish on the 3A, and it's the same price, $349. It's only available in limited editions because presumably Google also wanted to make this earlier in August, or I don't know, maybe in May when the Pixel 4a was actually supposed to launch. But it's here, and it is delightful, as Ben can tell us.
Yeah, no, I have your Pixel 4a to take the pictures of it, and it feels much better than the normal 4a. It's like it's got a soft satin finish to it. It's comfortable to hold. The best comparison I was making to you earlier is that it feels like the Pixel 3 with the soft touch glass on the back. It's great. It's probably the best. It is probably the best color and feeling phone that Google did this year. Kind of wish the Pixel 5 came in this color.
I wonder if the cleary white Pixel 4a 5G UW on Verizon. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that has the same finish.
Probably. If not, it's probably really close.
Yeah. So I wonder if you speak so highly of the quality and the finish, I wonder if it was hard for Google to get down, and that's why they didn't launch it.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely a much more complicated manufacturing process than the normal one. The normal one just feels like what you would expect a plastic phone to feel like, but this one really feels like they did something more to it. It doesn't feel like any other. It genuinely doesn't feel like any other plastic device I've ever felt.
Again,
Wow.
this is crazy high praise, and it's such a shame that I wonder how many Google made. I don't know, 50,000. Is that a number?
Is that too high? I wonder if that's too high.
Oh, you think it's too high? Ooh.
Honestly, yeah, for a limited edition phone, yeah, I think that's too high. I mean, it depends on I mean, then again, the 4A or the A series, the actual A series, not the A5G, the A series is supposedly a very well-selling phone, but Google doesn't give us numbers.
No, absolutely not. They never do.
I just wish I could trade my black one for this.
Yeah, it's okay. So the problem with the just black, is it is a fingerprint magnet. It is an oil magnet. I'm looking at mine after when was this launched? In August. It is so bad. And I don't know. It's again, I'm sure most people don't care. They put a case on it and go about their lives. But I think the Pixel 4 could have sold even better, could be selling even better if they just added colors.
Man, you just had me look at my Pixel 5 to see how oily it is, and instead I found there's already a little scuff in it. Ah, man, I'm gonna put a case on it now, aren't I? I mean, it's plastic, but damn.
I think
Sorry.
mine's good. I think mine's good, but I've been using the Fold mainly right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But no, I agree, Abner. My 4A felt oily and kind of gross, even though I only used it for like a week. It's fine, but it's not ideal. It's
fine,
far
not
from
ideal. Far from ideal. Yeah, so I wonder if the phone is going to be still available by the end of this month. This berry blue color, this special edition. But yeah, get your collector's item here. I'm just trying to think if there's any precedent for this, of Google doing a unique limited edition.
Wasn't the Panda released after the rest
No,
of
that one was just delayed.
I mean, what's the difference?
It was
The
delayed,
difference-
but it was kept for sale the entire time.
And the
Okay.
difference is I've actually seen one in the real world. That was like one of the first Pixels I've ever seen in the real world.
That was the one. That was the one I sold my Pixel 2 2XL at a loss to go buy it.
Yeah, it's that iconic, frankly, and I wonder why they haven't returned to it.
I would
Because
say
the window's gone.
probably the closest they came to an actual limited edition was the orange last year.
Oh, Nexus 6P, the pink one, maybe.
Oh, this is the gold one.
The gold one. Oh yes, the gold one was Japan.
Yeah. And then they brought it to the US for like a few months.
And then at CES they announced Huawei announced a pink one.
No, it was the gold one.
Gold one, okay.
Yeah, I got one of those. I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah. Did the battery expand or something?
No, they gave them away to everyone who was at their event. I don't remember what I did with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I traded it to get a white one.
Wow.
Why?
Because I liked the white one.
No.
I didn't like gold phones, and that was not a very nice gold phone in person.
That is true.
I bought the silver one when it came out. I can't remember.
Silver and white are different?
Yeah, they're very different. In person, like starkly different. The silver one was like an actual metal feeling and coating. With no coating on it, it was just aluminum, and then the white one had an actual coating on it, which did not age well.
Wow, phones used to have actual colors.
Man, you're bringing me way back now.
Yeah, phones used to have actual colors back then.
I know Steven had a gold one too. He was at the event with me.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Pixel 4a. I'm again just curious when it runs out of stock. So the next thing up is a new Google Pay app, and okay, it's new Google Pay, they made a big deal about it. But a day before it was announced on Wednesday, they just put up a live stream on the main Google channel. And at a very high level, all the things they're doing in India and in Southeast Asia with Google Pay TES, as it was originally called, is now coming to the US. And it's honestly a lot. There's so many things. But yeah, it's a redesign. Ben?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's ambitious, is what I call it. It's so the basic idea is now Google Pay is not just the NFC payments on your phone. It's also sending money to your friends, kind of like Cash App and all those apps. But also you can, link your credit cards and your bank account to manage your money in there. And you might be able to, and a few months from now, you'll be able to have a bank account in the Google Pay app, and then you get rewards. And it's so much, and it's so different. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it and figure out how, if at all, I will use it.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
No, I was just gonna say I like it. I find it it's like it's the positive things that people wanted from Apple Card without the negative effects of having a high interest credit card.
Yeah, I can see that.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's just it's a lot of new stuff at once. And I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a little bit before anyone can fully use it. Like
Okay.
a lot of it is sharing stuff with your friends, like splitting bills and everything. But
Not something we're doing
people
right
aren't. Yeah, nobody's doing that right now. But also, the app technically hasn't fully launched yet, so not everyone has it.
So yeah, I think again, there's just so much that we should honestly just take it tab by tab, starting with the 3 tabs, starting with the Pay tab in the middle, and this lets you pay, and it shows you the businesses you had transactions with. What do you think of the message motif? They want every time you spend money or send money to people to be a conversation.
I like it, but I don't. I don't know. It's just so much.
Yeah. And then the whole other thing is the Insights tab, which it asks you to either to link your bank account, your actual bank account with Google Pay, or you can or have your receipts show up from Gmail, or if you take pictures in Google Photos, Google Pay will categorize it for you. It is just like the analytics, they're generally useful, the ability to search your transactions. But I didn't expect that I would have this effect from Google, but I'm not like jumping to like give my monetary insights to Google, even though it would be useful.
I mean, I'm willing to try it. My biggest problem is that my primary credit card is a Capital One Venture card, and they don't let me link it. I can't link it, so it can't see all of my purchases with that unless I use it unless I pay with Google Pay through that card. That's the only way Google can see it. Yeah. I mean, it's a cool idea. I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a use out of it. It's definitely not for me, though.
Yeah, like the idea of money management, in a way, what banks, the mobile apps and banks increasingly, they're getting pretty modern, honestly. And not gonna lie, but I think most people are fine with just a list of their transactions. Like that's all they really want to see.
So I am a customer of a tool called YNAB. You need a budget. And I could see the potential. I don't know if it's there now because I haven't really dived into the budgeting and the Insight tab yet, having connected my account and all that. But I could see Google Pay potentially taking over the role of YNAB, which I'm currently paying for.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I could see it, if the budgeting tools are even remotely good.
Yeah. The another thing is goals. They want you to make goals and
Yeah.
stuff. And that there's definitely a large market of people that want that. But I don't know. It's a lot to ask from people.
I think this will be like to its biggest potential with the people who actually sign up for the Plex accounts. Like if you're really going all in and you're using it through that, even if you are using a second bank, but like if your primary checking account and purchase history is going through Google Pay, I think this will be very, very useful. But I don't know. It's just, I think it's not going to be for everyone. It's not for me, but this might be useful for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think I might switch. I might get a Plex account just to use as a secondary account, just like I kind of had been doing with PayPal. You could see that.
Yeah, I could see this replacing PayPal for a lot of people.
Ooh, I could, and Venmo.
Yes, please.
That's what they want to get at Venmo.
Mhm.
If we're being honest, that's like the hip money millennial service that Google has nothing on right now.
I hate Venmo. It's too public.
Yes, I don't know. It's like the worst trends of, what is it, Web 2.0 was social? Yeah, Web 2.0 and social sharing everything and money, which is a thing. So yeah. So lastly, what do you feel about the deals tab? Because that and the cash back when you make purchases at participating retailers, it's also gamified that I'm kind of uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, I don't fully get it. Like, I don't get how it works because it's not just if you make a purchase through Google Pay. If your cards are linked, it just gives you cash back anyway.
Yeah, how are they making money? Who's making money here?
Yeah,
I think they're presumably the retailers are trying to encourage people to go into the store, which is the gamification that you're talking about.
But a lot of these are when you pay online too, even if you're not using Google. It's just, I don't get it, but hey, free money, so
it's advertising. Yeah, free money.
I guess advertising is the best way to think about it. But yeah, the motivations aren't immediately obvious, and that's like confusing.
I guess it's, you think about it like, somebody wants to buy clothes, so they go to the tab and they look through the clothing stores that, see if any clothing stores are offering a deal. Like I looked today to see if any of the local coffee shops, like if I could get even 1 or 2% back from Starbucks, I'd do it.
Yo, Starbucks would be good.
I can see that. I do want to touch on one thing that I really don't like, which is how they've changed. Like, I feel like this just replaces the old Google Pay completely, and ignores it, because now Google Pay, in terms of the NFC stuff, is no longer in this app. It's actually in Google Play Services.
Yes,
which is really confusing. Like, it's good, but it's really confusing.
And it's accessed by the smallest touch target in the world.
Like they're completely ignoring that and just assuming that you know how to access it, which most people do not. But also, what's most confusing to me is that now it's locked to one phone. But not like the NFC payments are not, but the app is. So I know that's a niche use case, but anyone who uses more than one device now has to decide, do I want to manage my payments to my friends, to these businesses, these deals, etc., on this phone, or do I want to do it on this phone? And it's really annoying. And that's just my rant.
Preach it. It's the touch target is so small. I always end up tapping the main blue background instead of like the actual icon, the actual pay icon. It's
I just remembered. Here's my real complaint is that now to get to, like, I put all of my loyalty cards into Google Pay because I don't want to keep them all in my wallet. Absolutely. You now have to open Google Pay and click on that little thing and wait for Google Play Services to load and then scroll down to get to a loyalty card. Yeah. And that is ridiculously annoying when that was the primary use case for me at least, for the previous app.
Yeah, and how are tickets going to work? Did they just abandon that altogether? The
I
people who
guess.
Well, they didn't need to focus on it, that's for sure. Not this year.
Speaking
That's-
of, whatever happened to the screenshots to add boarding passes?
one
That's just on a
person has
total
it.
tangent. Okay.
One person has it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Well,
I have no way to test it, but okay.
yeah, I tried faking it before with it didn't work, sadly. But yeah, in this new way, this new Google Play Services way to access it, it's not fast. It objectively takes a second to load, so that's annoying. It's okay. So the background is that this works in India. It's popular in India and Southeast Asian countries.
Mhm.
And the question is whether there's the same appetite for that here and other Western parts of the world.
I feel like there's not, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
Like I feel like people here just don't care as much, or at least they don't want to have to think about it.
yeah, it's
Like that's the whole reason we're still so far behind when we still have magnetic stripe cards that actually still work and all this stuff. It's like we're behind, and
payments
people are not going to change to this.
payments, banking, money here in the US is a chore, and the banks are sure as not going to let that another party control the experience. Like they'll update it when they want to update it themselves.
Mhm.
It's notable they have Citi and Stanford Credit Union, I believe, partnering, but Citi is the only major bank here. I don't see any of the other companies gearing up. The big like BFA or Wells Fargo or those other ones. They have Citi, which is notable, but nobody else right now. And the Frax, it's called Prax. I keep calling it Frax, which I think makes way more sense in terms of money, but I digress. There will be a co-branded card. This is the Google card, so to speak. The details haven't been shared yet, but I don't know if they're going to go the whole Apple Pay Apple Card titanium route, or doesn't Razer have a credit card that lights up the gaming
Was that
company?
real? Was
That's
that real?
real.
I didn't
That's
think that was
real.
real. Oh my god. Yeah, it was Razer. I didn't know that was real. Oh.
Yeah, it works. I don't know how it powers up or something, but it works, and it's shocking.
Just sap some power whenever you put the chip in.
That's not
Just
a bad
takes a little
idea.
power from the. Oh man, that's a good way to kill some terminals. Take a little more power than it's expecting. Oh no.
Yeah. So there's that Google Pay thing. It's in the US. You can download the early access app. And earlier today, RCS, Google made a big announcement around RCS in that its version where it provides its own servers instead of the carriers doing it. RCS just completed Google's RCS just completed its global rollout. So anywhere following the UK and France last June and the US last November, you can now use RCS. And
there's some exceptions to that.
There's some exceptions to that, yes.
Some major ones, really, like Russia. There's a lot of people who are upset that Russia's not included.
China, for the fact that Google is not allowed to operate there. So yeah, RCS they did it. They did the thing everybody has been asking them to do. And I don't know, I thought this would be a bigger moment, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, I think it mattered more when it was coming to. I feel like it made a bigger impact when it hit the States. At this point, it's like it's been rolling out in countries since then.
Quietly.
Yeah, like without announcements. Like I don't know. I know I wrote about a few, like Spain and
Yeah.
India and stuff like that. It's been rolling out for a while.
So are you the people you know using RCS?
I don't know. I use Google Voice, so I can't access it.
Kyle?
I have one friend.
Mm.
So,
My wife uses it with her family.
Oh, that's nice. So it's working. They're getting something out of it.
And I can genuinely say I did not push them towards it.
That's always the fascinating thing, isn't it? When that happens.
we're just waiting for it to have its 3D animals moment, right?
Yeah.
I think what happened with them was they were having they were on Verizon phones, so they were using Verizon's really bad SMS app, and something broke. So I switched them over to Google Messages, but then RCS took over, and they actually did it on their own.
Nice.
And like got some of their family on it too. So
I wonder what's happening with. Remember when the 4 US carriers last year over the summer announced CCMI?
oh my God, it's the dumbest thing.
I think they gave up on it. It should be out by now, shouldn't it?
Oh come on, it's 2020. There's no telling. They could have got held up on it, but yeah, they should have totally just canceled.
The website still exists.
Nice.
I doubt anything has changed.
No, it doesn't matter anymore. Unless it gets Apple to switch, which is a whole nother conversation.
And then they're going to have
that the CCMI did say that they were going to have an iOS version.
That's funny.
And connect that to the universal RCS to make truly universal RCS, and then it'll be done.
Oh, man. All right. So the other big tentpole is end-to-end encryption is now available. They're starting to roll out this week, going into the new year. So basically, your one-to-one conversations by default, when both parties are using RCS and messages and chat and all that, it will be auto-upgraded to end-to-end encryption, which was always the biggest flaw in when Google based the entire consumer messaging strategy around RCS. And yeah, it's a very privacy conscious feature, privacy conscious way to roll it out. And it's like the global world of messages. It's a nice. This move was expected. In that everybody assumed that Google would eventually get around to it because just everybody's moving to encrypted messaging. There's a demand for it. It's like even the regular people, they want that, an expectation of privacy, and it's now here. The big thing is you can use messages for web with the end-to-end encryption. And that's honestly a big deal. We didn't think it was going to happen, but it works. And group messages might be coming down the road, but Google isn't commenting on the timeline. But it seems that it's technically feasible as well.
Yeah, the web thing is so interesting to me as being both like nice, but also kind of a flaw in the whole design, in a way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Because it's just gonna like people shouldn't. I guess they shouldn't. Because the whole point of encryption, right, is to be able to protect your messages as they're being sent through the network. But if they arrive at your phone, get decrypted, and then are sent through the network to arrive in the web app, what was the point?
But there's also the connection between your phone and messages to web is encrypted.
Is it?
Yeah. That would be the only way they felt safe doing that, I think. Yeah, it's definitely encrypted.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'll have to check the white paper. I haven't read that.
So yeah, based on the Signal protocol, and hopefully they make it interoperable with all RCS implementations. Maybe, I don't know. I think they're on 3.0 now. Maybe like the future versions of RCS will add E2EE by default. So yeah, that's the messages news. And the final thing, well, it is still Thursday after all. Who knows what's coming tomorrow? Is Stadia is having its 1 year anniversary, and Kyle did a fantastic year in review of it.
What a year it's been. What a year it's been. I mean, going from, it was bare bones a year ago. A year ago today, people were upset that they weren't getting their codes quick enough.
I remember that.
Crazy to think about that. It's been a year since then. It feels like it's been 5, but that's 2020 for you. But so much has happened. Like Stadia has competitors, both traditional competitors and new actual cloud competitors. It's been a wild year. It's been a wild year.
So, what is your high level takeaway of what Google has done in the past year?
They've taken 3 distinct apps and made them into same enough apps. Like it's weird to me that you can't get into a party with people on Android, but other than that, for the most part, you can the same Stadia that you have on your phone is the same Stadia that you have on Chromecast, is the same Stadia that you have on the web, and I like that. And now it's going to be the same Stadia that you have on iOS. That's really cool. Today, as of today, that's. I mean, presumably we haven't seen it yet, but that seems to be the experience that they're driving for. Just making it accessible.
I do wonder what the iOS one will look like.
I mean, yeah. For all we know, it could just be the existing Stadia app, and when you actually press play, it just opens up a window, a stream, a link. Just be that.
No, I think Apple doesn't let you do that.
Yeah, no, it has to be in Safari. It's going to be a progressive web app. So I think what's going to be weird is, and people haven't talked about this, is that there's probably going to have to be 2 Stadia apps on iOS. There's going to be the progressive web app where you play, and then there's going to need to still be the dedicated app that's used to set up your controller and connect it to a Chromecast.
That's not going to age well.
I mean, that's exactly what Amazon has right now with Luna. If you want to play Luna on iOS, you have to get the web app from Safari, and it installs on your home screen with an icon. But then if you want to set up and connect the controller, you have to download a completely separate app that's literally only exists to set up the controller.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. I'm curious how that's going to play out.
At least the Stadia app on iOS. I assume it's still going to do messaging and the store, and
you think Apple's going to play cool with the store like that?
I think the standards wise, it's still
You still can't play it through an app.
Yeah, I guess that's the differentiating factor, huh?
So there's no reason for them to say that you can't do that. But even then, Google could just say, okay, the store is now on the web app.
Yeah, fair enough.
It doesn't matter which way they do it. Apple is still not entitled to their cut.
I wonder if it's gonna be like a Stadia Play app to like, or something along those lines, just to indicate that this is the one you open to play things, and this is the one you open to, or maybe like a Stadia controller. They changed it to Stadia controller app or something like that.
Yeah, the icons cannot look the same. There has to be something going on there.
It'd be interesting if they set up the Stadia app, like the normal app, to just say if you want to play, like if you selected play on device, it kicked you over to the other one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But
but not opening the game. I think if they open the game is where I think Apple would kill it.
That distinction sounds.
It's ridiculously stupid, but that's how they want it.
Mm. Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's their right to set that term.
But at least Google's not alone in dealing with it, because Amazon is the same way, as you said, and as announced today, GeForce is going to be presumably the same way, except for you don't have a dedicated controller for GeForce, so it's all web, but still.
It's mind-blowing to me that, like, I've tried all of these services. GeForce Now is by far the most messy interface on Android and the web and everything else, but on iOS, somehow it's going to be the least convoluted.
Of
Like,
course.
it's bizarre to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's a real fun. So, okay, so what was the stat that Google made about how many features they announced?
100 plus, I believe.
100 plus.
Go ahead.
Are there what's like the top thing that you think they should have launched with?
Oh God, controller support everywhere, messaging.
Wait, you're saying they launched it a year ago?
Yeah.
Oh, everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything that they have today is what they should have had a year ago. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like, I understand some of it. I just wish they would have said. I still wish if they would have solved everything, if a year ago they had called, Stadia before the free tier launched, early access, and then the day the free tier launched, they could have said, okay, now it's public, it's open to everyone, and
but it still wasn't ready by then.
Yeah, but they were still building it out. But at least at that point, they had a bigger game library, and they didn't have you have to pay $130 to get in on this.
Yeah, the price ended up being the most ungoogly thing in terms of Google usually starts their services free, and that absolutely did not happen with Stadia.
Yeah, I think if a year ago they had said, right now it's early access, you have to pay to get the controller and everything, it would have changed so much in terms of the public reception.
Yeah.
I think it has to do, though, with I think they did it that way for the same reason that they're doing this Cyberpunk promotion, which we'll get to in a minute. But they wanted to ensure that the people that did play had the best possible experience. If only the Washington Post was paying attention to that notion.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
it's rage every time I look at that GIF.
Same, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny how they tried to be so careful in managing expectations, and to not be googly about the launch, and it kind of ended up backfiring.
I think a lot of it came down to people had in their minds decided what Stadia was going to be, and then it wasn't that. Like, everyone had just decided that Stadia was going to be a Netflix style thing, and then when it wasn't, they just never got over it.
It kind of would have been interesting if somebody else beat them to it. Like if somebody else launched, and again, Google took the time to do more features on day one, and they kind of let somebody else take the brunt of the expectation.
I am genuinely curious what would have happened if you take it back a year. If Google had said, we're not, they're not launching yet, but Amazon Luna had launched last year in its current state, I wonder what the difference would have been. I still wonder why Luna doesn't get the crap it does, that Stadia does.
I think the difference would have been, this is a cool technical demo. Like, I think they would have gotten away with that. And again, Google for revealing all their cards up on day one, the expectation at the GDC keynote, they I don't know, they shot for the stars, and everybody wanted to criticize them for whatever reason.
Yeah. Thinking on it, if Luna had come first, Stadia would have been laughed out of existence, just because of the pricing model.
That's interesting. That's true too, I think.
Because if the Netflix for games already exists, who's going to sign up for this other service that you have to pay full price games for?
I still don't get that argument, though. Like, I understand why some people want to say, I have access to all these games, but like the interview that John Justice, the VP of Stadia, did today, he was talking about how now Stadia it's just a free and accessible place to play games. One, that should have been their messaging from day one.
Yes,
that's a great position for Stadia. But I understand the people who just want to say, I have everything because I pay one fee, but not everybody wants a rotating library and the inability to say, this is my game, I have this now. And at the same time, it's like with Luna, if you're paying the $6, you're not getting anything current. Everything on there is like, nothing is new.
It just kind of reminds me of like paying for cable. You got 1,000 channels, but nothing's on.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody said, like with cable, they said, we don't want this. We just want to pay for what we want. It's like, why do you suddenly want to pay for all of the, like with Luna, I hate their pricing model. Mm-hmm. Right now, if I was just playing on Luna, let's say I wanted to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I would have to pay $15 a month. Like, I have no choice.
But the model is so much closer to how TV works. You're like getting a channel. I think that is what Amazon is heavily leveraging on. And I think that's a concept that people who are new to games, but everybody knows what the TV is, that translates easily.
Sure, but
how does buying a game not translate to people? That's the model. The model of Google Stadia is the model that games have used for ages.
But people don't like paying for games on their phones. You have already. You have to pull their teeth out, and then when you do it through the web, when you don't have a physical console, when you don't have a tactile CD disc in your hand, everybody's perceptions just change and they're thrown out, and they automatically think it should be free or there should be one fee. That's it. That's the perception.
Think so. Because with consoles, people have been shifting to digital for years now. Like,
but those people are gamers already. I guess the difference is who we're thinking of the audience is right now.
Yeah, I guess, but most people have been, even new people, I think, have been shifting to digital because think about the new gamers are the ones who are paying the least barrier of entry. And the cheapest consoles are the ones that don't have disk drives. So they're buying digital games for full price without having a physical copy of it. Let's say you're going on the computer. If you're buying a game from Steam, unless you are catching a sale, which admittedly are frequent on Steam, you're paying the full price to get the game. You're not getting a physical copy of it. And on computers especially, that's been the case for years. I don't think people have bought physical games on computers for
10 years
at least,
more.
Yeah, at least the better part of the decade.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't get why people hate it so much. Like, I don't get why people don't understand the pricing, because they're also just ignoring the fact that Stadia Pro does give you. When I was reading the interview from John Justice earlier, the thing that I came away with was really it's kind of the best of both worlds. Yes, you are having to pay full price for the games you really want, but if you want to just get into a library and play some games, you pay $10 a month, you're going to get access to like 30 plus games, and if you add them to your library, they stay there. But then if you want to buy a brand new game like Cyberpunk or Assassin's Creed or whatever, you can just go buy it like you would on a normal console. I don't get the priorities of the people who are saying, the Netflix model is the only way to go.
Especially when you consider like how many games do people actually play, So if they just want to play the one game, like you're saying, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can pay the one-time fee of the $60 and have it forever, or you can pay 4 months of Ubisoft Plus for $60 and have it for 4 months. Pay $60 to get 4 months, and then if you stop paying that $15, it's gone until you pay the $15 again.
Which to an extent I do understand. Like, I understand there is a market for this. I just don't understand why somehow, Xbox Game Pass does not have, I mean, I know it has a lot of the, Microsoft's first party stuff, but it doesn't have Assassin's Creed or any of these other major AAA games for free.
I mean,
And
okay, to be
neither
fair,
does Sony.
it does have Star Wars, some good Star Wars titles from EA.
Yeah, that's
I
because
pick up EA Play.
because they did the EA partnership. But Ubisoft Plus will be on Stadia, in a month, and then the whole conversation.
Or
I
less.
feel like people just have it set in their minds now that Stadia's crap.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's their mindset, and that's Google's hurdle.
Yeah, and I don't know if what's needed is a rebrand or something. I don't know how they change perception besides keep iterating and make it the most advanced one technologically, or I don't know what, but they need something. If I don't know, if a year from now and these people are still making the same jokes, what do you do?
I think what they announced today, not announced, but what, again, John Justice had said was there are more free-to-play games coming. I think that'll help change things because it is going to get, the thing, like Destiny is the only example right now. If you want to go play Destiny, if you're a new player and you want to go play Destiny, you don't have hardware that can do it already. Now you can go play it on Stadia completely for free. You don't have to pay anything whatsoever. And I think more games doing that will help kind of change the conversation a little bit.
And I think Stadia is the only cloud console that can really support that because of the microtransactions and just expansions that you can buy.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue GeForce Now because they've been doing that the whole time, but they also have the waiting in line and the 1 hour limit.
Right, and the point of GeForce Now, the point of the free tier of GeForce Now is to sell you on the higher tiers of GeForce Now, where the point of the free tier of Stadia is to sell you games.
Yeah,
So yeah, that is the year in Stadia. It's been a year. That's a whole other thing to dive into.
I just hope the second year ends up being better. Like, I hope the second year changes the conversation.
Yeah, like
to a more positive light.
More new people will always help change the trend, and word of mouth is like one of the most powerful things.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to Kyle's review. Both of us play a lot of Stadia. I think he plays a lot more than I do, but his review talks about the positives. It talks about the negatives. Right now, so many people are focusing on the negatives that, there are negatives, and anyone can admit that. Stadia still doesn't have a search bar. Stadia still has, latency issues for some people. Stadia still has, there are pricing barriers for some people, depending on how you want to look at it. But if you just focus on the negatives of anything, it looks bad. And I think next year what they just need to do is focus on the biggest negatives that people have had and address them. We'll see where we go from there.
Definitely. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. You can tune into Alphabet Scoop here every week on Thursday afternoons, and audio will be up by Friday morning. You can find us all on your favorite podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and you can listen at 9to5google.com. Thank you to Kyle and Ben for joining me, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.